There's a report in The Athletic about an incident after the Pacers game that involved acquaintances of Ja. Have you had the chance to see it yet? And have you guys had any team discussions about any of that?
Yeah, I mean, that was addressed internally, aware of the investigation of the NBA, did a full-on investigation. We were fully compliant with it. And I think they came out with a statement saying nothing was corroborated or found. So, that's what I know. And that's all I'm going to comment about.
The recent pattern of back and forth and even sometimes fights on the basketball court with the Memphis Grizzlies has been a pattern recently throughout their games. But the fallout from this particular altercation between the Grizzlies and the Pacers last week resulted in some more fighting outside, and actually what some claim to be some gun play. Coach Taylor Jenkins, as you saw there, didn't have much to say about the whole thing, but people were still wondering because as the reporter asked in The Atlantic, they reported that some other things went down. Let's go to some of those details. So during that January 29th game, several Pacers and Grizzly team members verbally sparred with Ja Morant, who's a superstar on that team, with his father T and one of Morant's longtime friends, Devontae Pack. That was the man at the beginning of that video that was getting escorted out. He also directed comments at some Pacers players. So in that third quarter, Pack walked onto the court, directed expletives at multiple Pacers players. And then a game referee interceded, called the arena security, and he was then removed from the floor. I guess very normal behavior if someone is yelling on the court. Acquaintances of Grizzlies star Ja Morant aggressively confronted members of the Pacers traveling party near the team's bus in the loading area of the FedEx Forum after the game though. And later, someone in a slow moving SUV, which they said Ja Morant was riding in, trained a red laser on them, this being players, coaches, and personnel from the Pacers. The two members of the traveling party who spoke to The Athletic said that they did not see who shined the laser from the SUV. They also don't know if the laser was attached to a gun, but they believed that it was. This particular guy, a Pacers security guard in the loading area at the time, did think so. He said that's 100% a gun. Damn. One more part about this. NBA security and league investigators conducted that investigation, interviewing numerous eyewitnesses and reviewing video surveillance following these allegations made by the Pacers organization about that incident. While we substantiated what a post-game situation arose that was confrontational, based on interviews and other evidence gathered, we could not corroborate that any individual threatened others with a weapon. So the spokesperson said that whole thing that went down. So they couldn't figure out whether or not it happened or not, but definitely the Pacers players and personnel thought so for sure. Now, after this happened, you have the fallout from it, and Ja Morant actually did respond because, as the NBA spokesperson pointed out, they didn't come to a conclusion. So Ja said this: they did an investigation, they seen they were capping. Still let an article come out to paint this negative image on me and my fam and ban my brother from home games for a year. Unbelievable. So his friend is also banned from this for some time. I'm not sure how closely you watch basketball, Mondale, but Dylan Brooks got into it, swung an arm, caught someone in the lower regions. That fight broke out. There was altercations also with Shannon Sharpe, which we might get to, but also this being the third, which then led to something which seems like even worse out in the parking lot.
Yeah, I listen. I watch basketball tangentially. I understand who Ja Morant is. He's one of the largest stars in the world, not just in the NBA. I will say this though. It is absolutely ridiculous that Athletic put this article out, framing it as if the gun thing was a real situation after the investigation, which really means they looked at all of those cameras. And if you've ever been to FedEx, especially in the back part, there's cameras everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's no way that there would have been a red dot on that showed up on that camera that night, and the NBA did not see that. No way.
Oh, it would have showed up, you said. That was actually my question. I'm glad you said that. Sorry to interrupt you, but that was my question. I'm saying they go through all these cameras, and it's probably, I assumed, impossible to see a red laser through some camera footage, but I'm not sure how good these cameras are.
Right. So my thing is, so from when this person says, everybody on the scene said, well, we can't tell if it was a gun or what it was, and then this one person says 100% sure gun, and it's dark out there. It's after the game. You're in Memphis. You tucked in the back of FedEx. It was just not. I just don't like it, and I don't like Shannon Sharpe's response.
Let's go to that.
It was a terrible tiptoeing. So I don't want to jump the gun because
no, it's all good. I'm glad you brought it up because that's where we're going. So a little bit of background on folks who didn't know the background of this part. Shannon Sharpe was involved in a bit of an altercation, similarly on the court, barking at one of the Grizzlies players. This is a couple weeks ago. I'm sure everyone heard about this. Shannon Sharpe being a former NFL player and now a commentator on Undisputed, which is on Fox Sports. He had some thoughts about Ja Morant because he was getting into it with Ja's father. Think about all that as this comes together, as Shannon says this.
Ja is a really good basketball player. Ja did everything he could to lift himself and his family out of this type of environment and to get away from this. And for some reason, he wants to surround himself with these type of people. Why? Bro, you not hard. That's not your life. You got a $200 million contract and you want people in the NBA to think you hood, to think you gangster, because you roll with these type of people. Bro, you putting yourself in harm's way when you don't have to. Nobody looks at you, John, and think, man, that's a thug. He hood. He down, he about that. You not. But this, what you're going about, pretending like you down like that you tote, that you carry, bruh, you putting yourself in harm's way. And it's not a good look for you.
Go ahead, Mondale.
Shannon Sharpe's response is textbook. How this was black man on Fox Sports acting like white man on Fox News. Like, I was absolutely disgusted with everything he said about Ja Morant. Thinking you're down, thinking you hood thug. No black person wants to be seen as a thug. This idea that just because this man is protecting himself or saying what he's saying, this is directly related to Shannon Sharpe's fight with this man's father the week before. Because if you even look at what's in the lower third of the screen, Fox Sports didn't say anything about investigation, said they didn't see a gun, anything. All it said was Ja Morant with a big picture of him, friend banned from arena after investigation. That is absolutely misleading, out of context, and it's just like Ja Morant said, it's carrying on this idea that Shannon Sharpe, what he's saying is projecting on Ja Morant. He himself thinks Ja Morant is a thug because he shows up with his hair the way it is, because he comes from a generation and a black people that believe that respectability is more important than being authentically you. And if you look offensive to Shannon Sharpe, i.e. the way me and Ja show up, then you probably value thuggish behaviors. That man ain't no thug. That man, no, he's not a thug. That man is a professional basketball player, one of the best in the world, just like Shannon Sharpe was on the football field. And it's disrespectful for him to be carrying white man's water in this manner, talking about a young black man.
And we're not exactly sure who the friends were in the car or what is it they were doing. Let's keep it real. And also, by the way, if his friends are thugs, who says that they're always doing thug things? I'm just saying. I don't know if people have ever known a thug before, but there's a bit of time when folks just want to watch a game. Just keep it real. I mean, we like to separate the humans from folks sometimes that we assume that's all that they're ever thinking about is some violence and some anger. Which, I mean, plenty of NBA fans do.